TikTok, it's time to rock. Welcome to the channel, folks. Welcome to a special episode of the channel. It's the first show here on Zep-tember on the channel, and we have Brad Cook, who's staking out Jimmy Page as he's in a recording studio. So Brad is hot on location, bro.
Yes, I'm hot on location across from this Anglican church where they've set up a whole recording, and they're recording drums at the moment. And I'm hearing Jimmy Page, just blaring out the riff. It's very similar to Kashmir, but let's not go there. We'll wait and see what comes.
What talking of drums? What was that? What was that bongos at the beginning, Mr. Walton? You tuning up? Diddle diddle diddle. What was that?
That was the sound check of the bongo player where I am, Simon.
That's the sound of not John Bonham, isn't it?
Yes.
If anything could be more the opposite end of the spectrum from John Bonham, that'll be it. Oh dear.
Welcome,
like
boys. Well,
Yeah.
well, hey, if you were a beatnik back in the day and, you had the bongos and you were reciting poems, Simon, so, and you had your Van Gogh, Simon, at university, has Van Gogh mustache and goatee with his beret, Simon, didn't he? His bongos.
His beret and his bongos.
Oh.
Oh my lord!
Well, if you insist, yes.
Anyway, guys, thank you for jumping on and being obviously this show wouldn't be anything without the three of us. So, thank you, Rock Professor and the Backdoor Man, for jumping on. Good to see you. And obviously the people in the chat that join us weekly, and just as importantly, the people that watch us. I flicked some stats to you guys a couple of days ago on the performance of the channel for August. And, it's always interesting and humbling, isn't it? We're only a small channel, guys, but, from our perspective, the fact that people are interested in what we have to say about anything, let alone great rock and roll albums, Simon, is humbling, isn't it?
It is. It definitely is humbling. Sorry, Ellen's asking me a question. And it's very interesting. 5, 6 tracks, can't remember. Let's do that. There we go. Yes, it's lovely, very lovely.
Yeah,
cool.
It's good to see. Good to see the stats too, so we know, how well we're doing for such a little channel.
Yeah. How soon you can buy your Les Paul, Brad, on the Never.
Yeah, I've got it on my list.
Right, the only Les Paul you're going to get is one of those little badges of the Les Pauls that you get, those little $25 ones, that you get from the market.
I was hoping for one of those. Yeah.
At
least.
Yeah.
No,
seriously, folks.
It's really nice to see those stats.
Yeah, Brad isn't. If you're tuning in because you thought or you think that Brad is going to be running out interviewing Jimmy Page, no. So we have to make that quite clear.
Yeah. No, I just like this setting. It's got something about it. It's got a good ambience and it's got a real Zep vibe to it. So I thought, why not?
It's not a green screen.
That's
right.
right.
It's like the stairway in Headley Grange where John Bonham recorded The Ocean.
100%. It's got that vibe. It's got that sound. Beautiful.
Yeah. Good to see you, bro. Good to see you.
Dear.
So we're going to obviously kick off the Zoso show very shortly. As you guys know, we like to do a couple of shout outs if anything comes our way that's of interest. And so, you know, we did a shout out to the co-hosts and you fine people here. We want to do a shout out to Paul Kossoff, the guitar player extraordinaire of a great band called Free. I was just checking out a couple of posts, guys. So, you know, he passed away when he was only 25. Jeepers, just too young. Born in 1950, Simon and Brad. You know, if he was alive today, he'd be a sprightly 75-year-old.
Still young. 75, still young, Andrew. Simon, still young.
Still young, yeah. Well, son of David Kossoff, who's a well-known TV personality over here. So he's born into that sort of that TV, well, that world of sort of celebrity and stuff, which I don't think helped him too much personally. But you know, the great Paul Kossoff, still one of the greatest. Yeah, absolutely. With Free,
amazing guitarist.
Yeah. Well, amazing what they achieved. You know, 25 when he died, but look, you know, 3 albums, Backstreet Crawler, you know, as well. You know, so he put it down, didn't he? You know.
Yeah.
Sure did. All right now, and Wishing Well, and all those Free tracks that still ring out today, don't they? Fantastic.
Oh, there's classics, absolutely.
100%, and there's a connection between, you know, obviously Led Zeppelin and Free, because for a while there they were shooting both from the same, well, from similar hips, weren't they? You know, you know, for a while there, and then it just got to a stage where Led Zeppelin, Simon and Brad just, you know, overtook everybody, didn't they? And this album that we're going to be talking about, Simon, is definitely 100% a product of that era. So I look forward to the next 3 shows with you guys, talking about this album and obviously this band, Simon.
Well, yes. Do you think we're doing enough shows? One feels, but when we go in hard.
That's right.
That's completely right. That we give everything the gravitas that it so richly deserves, and
that's right.
This is no exception, kids. No exception. If you thought we were going to knock it off in a couple of hours, think again.
Well, while we're keeping it on a Zep theme, I think we should do a shout out to Zeppelin with their new EP, live EP. Even though we've probably all heard those songs a million times, to celebrate 50th anniversary of Physical Graffiti, they've released an EP of, was it 4 or 5 songs performed live from that era? So, congrats on that release. Yeah.
I'd like to say that Just Under 50 Jim's got his already. Mine's not turning up till today. What have I done to deserve to be a day behind Jim? I'm outraged.
And you're the rock.
I'm the rock professor.
And you know, Simon is the rock professor. You know,
you should have it already.
I've got them all already, but no, I haven't got the live stuff. But those live ones, I thought that'd be fun. I didn't buy Physical Graffiti again. I've only got it about 3 times. Well, apparently the album itself has been, it's been remastered. I think they did some EQing stuff on it, but it's not really any different to the one they did in 2018 when they did all those Zeppelin things. It's not different to those. It hasn't got any extra tracks or anything. It's just really the 5-track live EP that's the one. So
yeah,
I think Jim did the same as me. Just got that just for completist sake.
Yeah. I'll get that. I'll get that obviously too,
that's
and the new one, because I've only got an old copy that's about 35 years old. Brad and Simon,
Well
that
done.
scratch. I didn't get the the 2018 version, Simon, either. So, got to get that album. Got to have a pristine copy of that album, surely.
100%.
Surely. Several pristine copies.
Yeah.
If you're me, I've got
The masterpiece. Masterpiece.
And of course, you know, one of my great adages is you can never have too much Led Zeppelin. There's no such thing as too much Led Zeppelin. You know, if you've only got them 3 times, you need to get them again.
I think pretty much my CD collection is, swamped with Zeppelin, Beatles, and Hendrix.
CDs. How very modern of you. We're all getting them on vinyl, Brad. You know, us hipsters. We're all getting them on vinyl, man. With our bongos.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll get
Play
there
along.
one day. I'll get there one day, Simon.
Yeah, well, it's oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Listen to us causing trouble. Well, yes, yeah, that's right, Johnny. You have to. We'll be back to Clapton soon, apparently.
Yeah. Oh, Clapton swamps. Cream, Clapton, and all that swamped my CD collection as well. So
Yeah. I don't swamp mine. I've got lots of variety of stuff, but but what's interesting is my vinyl collection and my CDs don't really overlap. They do a tiny bit, but basically I went vinyl up to a certain point, then I went CD, and then I went back to vinyl. With a few exceptions. I do buy something still on CD, depending. You know, massive collections of things like Eric Clapton's 24 Nights. I got that on CD rather than having 500 albums of it.
Yeah.
And I can still play it in my car.
Yeah,
which is
that's good.
I've got an older car and it's still got a CD player in it, and I'm sort of holding out, thinking to myself, oh, I don't want to buy another car where there's a CD player in it, where it'll have Spotify, which is all very well, but you know, I've got things on CD that will never appear on Spotify.
I'd rather have CD any day than Spotify, but anyway.
Yeah, because I'm old school, you know, I own that. No one can take it away from me. You know,
that's right.
I just need someone to play it on, but I own it. You know, and we now live in that world. Do you see that new Boss pedal, Brad? That you can, it's got like 8 sounds on it. You can buy another 8 sounds for it, but basically, you pay a subscription for it.
Wow. No, I haven't seen that.
Well,
that's how old school I am. I just like one stomp pedal and that's it. I don't want all that.
got your rat in your DS1. What else do you need?
Tube screamer and a wire pedal and a univibe and a buzz. That's all you need.
Yeah, suddenly you're in the world of subscriptions and you don't own its downloads and stuff, and I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all right, it's fine, but it's I'm a bit old school. I like to own something and but hold it in my hand. I feel like then I own it. I mean, you look at all those iTunes stuff and things. I mean, I didn't do it very much, but I did buy the odd track on iTunes that somehow I no longer have. Brad, where did that go?
I know.
Mine's in 99p. Not much of went to the artist, I bet.
Yeah, 100%.
Anyway, this is enough of this digression.
Digress.
Shall we
onto the content?
Shall we start? Do you want to?
Yes.
Shall we start with when you heard it and when you got it, and then I'll get into an intro for it. I think that's fine. I mean, I clearly, here's mine. I bought it when it came out, and had it ever since 2003. Absolutely thrilled when I found out it was coming out, because
I've got my copy here somewhere too, Simon. I'm
yes, I know.
Yeah, I pulled it out to show, like you guys too. I lined up to get it in 2003 as well.
Yeah.
But I've had a bit of a clean up in here, so I don't know where it is.
There's the three in the ones. Fantastic. It's
But I
yeah,
try
don't
and
worry.
get CD copies too, and you'll be surprised what you can get out there that's secondhand too, Simon and Brad. So,
True.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
CD copies are definitely as well. If you can get them, it's good to have Spotify. I agree with you guys. Spotify is a great thing when you, like Brad, when you're on the run, when you're
Yeah.
mowing lawns or something like that, or painting the
Yep.
house, or something.
Yeah.
But Simon, there's something about the quality of putting a CD in. So anyway, Simon, do you want to intro the album,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
please, for
Yes.
us?
It's yes. Before I do that, I too I've lost. I don't know where the box is. Look, it comes in a box with a bit of booklet. Can I find that? No, I can't. So
No.
I've got the important bits, but I don't know where that is. Don't know what I've done with that. Anyway, so we'll my computer's gone off. Thank you. So yeah, so this for the next 3 weeks. Sorry, kids. We are discussing How the West Was Won by Led Zeppelin, released in May 2003, and compiled from 2 concerts recorded during the band's 1972 North American tour, and they captured the band in one of their peak moments. I think probably I'm gonna say 75 is another peak moment. Can't imagine why, but anyway, so and they were on tour, and we know that they toured America constantly from '69. That was their sort of plan, and by this stage they were playing places like the Los Angeles Forum, and the Long Beach Arena, big arenas and stuff. And just for a bit of context, they played 17 shows in June '72.
Jeez.
It was just mad. They got 90% of the ticket sales money, so they got
Wow.
all the money. Well done. And
There you go.
but another sideline. But they were on. Who was on tour at the same time in June '72? The Rolling Stones were doing their American tour in June '72. They were following the Stone train, and the truth is, the Stones were selling out more shows. They did more nights at some of the arenas than Led Zeppelin, but yeah, June '72. You could go and see Led Zeppelin or the Rolling Stones or both.
Or
Not
both.
bad. Not bad. Yeah, all both. Yes.
Well, I'm a Stones fan, guys, and there's an argument out there that in '72 the Stones were at their peak during the '70s, and then there's an argument, Brad, that in '75 no one was anywhere near what Led Zeppelin was doing. The Stones in the '75, their '75 tour was pretty shitty, Brad.
I could argue that the Stones were at their peak around the '72 period for sure, but I think Zeppelin, when you listen to this collection, which we'll get into, were definitely, on the rise to their peak for sure. They were on
100%.
fire. Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah, for sure. And one of many peaks, and this is between Led Zeppelin 4 and Houses of the Holy, so it's got some tracks from Houses of the Holy on it, but it's got the tracks from those tracks from Led Zeppelin 4 are bedded into the set list and things. So
100%.
It's quite a contrast from this, which is from '69 and '70.
Yeah.
Which has they do Stairway to Heaven on it, but he and Robert Plant uses to complete silence because it's like they never really played it before. So whereas here, the place erupts when they go into it. It's a fantastic contrast. But it's nice, isn't it, that we got the the really early stuff, and then we've got mid period, and then we've got the '75 thing. I suppose all we need is a '79, a last tour kind of thing to complete the set of every stage of their live existence. Would then be covered, wouldn't it, by a thing? So
yeah,
clearly, they were by this time headlining in America. No supports, 3-hour shows, long, adventurous, set list with lots of improvisation, and and as we'll get into it, songs that easily stretch to 20 or 30 minutes, and which is quite, quite something really. And I think, whilst not unique, they probably did it in a unique way. They're not really they're not the Grateful Dead by a distance, and I don't think people like the Stones weren't really doing those long improvised, songs. They just stuck to what they did. I think most other people did as well, really, not to stretch it out in the way that Zeppelin did. But the recordings themselves were made by Eddie Kramer on the Wally Hyder remote recording truck. Just for history, that was also used on Frampton Comes Alive and The Doors Absolutely Live, amongst others. And Wally Hyder has a studio in LA. It's still going now. It's recorded, the Doobie Brothers, Crosby, Stills, Nash Young, you name it, they've recorded there in the early 70s. So it's a 16-track, and as I said, 2 shows. June the 25th, 1972, the Los Angeles Forum, and June the 27th, 1972, the Long Beach Arena. And they basically mixed tracks together. I think that the truth of it is that within tracks, they did some bits and pieces of, cutting bits and pieces in and out of it on a more detailed level than that. But pretty much it's those 2 shows, and the songs either came from one of the majority of the song would come from one of the show or the other.
Yeah.
It's so in 2003, Jimmy Page is putting together the DVD, and he's going through all the material for DVD. So he finds the '69 stuff at the Albert Hall, and he's got the Earl's Court stuff, and he's got the Madison Square Garden stuff, and he comes across the recordings, puts them on and thinks, oh, we might be able to do something with these. So he gets Kevin Shirley, who is one of the people who appears regularly on the show, because he's 1/3 of the Bonamassa triumvirate with Roy. I can't remember his surname of his manager, but there's Roy, and then there's Kevin Shirley and there's Joe Bonamassa, basically, and the 3 of them, run Bonamassa's career. So Kev, if you see him described as Kev the Caveman Shirley. So he gave it to Page, gave it to him, and he did all the work on it, and looking at really, making sure that all the performances were up to scratch, and making sure that the album preserved the flow of a Zeppelin concert. And I did dig out a couple of the set lists for from the thing in it. It's pretty close to being full concerts. 1 or 2 things left out, like Tangerine. It's not on. They played that in the acoustic section, but it's not on the live thing. But it's you can delve deeply into what's from what, and which I'm not going to do too much of that on here, because it's that'd be difficult. So really it's mixed and sorted out by Kevin Shirley, and so really his project is nothing else, clearly overseen by Jimmy Page. But and then it was it's part of a coordinated archival project, that Jimmy Page has been indulging in for the last 20 years for Zeppelin. All the albums re-released. It's got DVD. You've got this live. The BBC tracks. You can see that he's putting together all the stuff that's in the Zeppelin archives. He's gradually going through them, sorting them out, deciding, in his world, about whether they should be released or not. And I think that's really cool. I think it's it's a really good way of doing it. Like as we were saying earlier, we've got that 5-track live EP. That should be good. I'm sure Jim might have something to say about that in the chat. I'm interested in that. I think it's not stuff that's been out before. So, again, and I think that curation, you could take lessons from Jimmy Page on how to create your band's archive and how you do it properly. Releasing lots of things, but not too much, and keeping the quality really high. Really something, and but making it so that if you want 3 hours of Led Zeppelin, we're here for you.
100%.
Well, it's, you might say that these days that's is that a niche thing to put out a 3-hour album, kind of thing. I mean, I would guess it probably is not like a greatest hits kind of thing. It's for me this is for the fan, and this is for people who want to dig a bit deeper and go into it and stuff, and get really into the vibe of what they were like back in 1972. How powerful they were, and how I think disagree, but I think how interesting they were, and with the improvisations and the long drawn out tracks and things that and the insertion of other songs into those tracks, and the way that that's all fitted together, I think is unique, and I think it's I think it's fantastic myself. But I think it's but it's it isn't something you ever get a band doing now. It's absolutely no way would you get a band doing it now. And so I think historically, any young musicians out there, go and have a listen. Go and see what you can make with 3 instruments and a singer. You can make a thunderous noise with 3 instruments and a singer. But so yeah, as I said, the album preserved the flow of the Led Zeppelin concerts pretty much in the order that they did it. 1 or 2 dropouts, 1 or 2 changes, but nothing really particularly different. Moving from the big heavy rock stuff to the blues stuff, into the acoustic stuff, into the extended improvisation stuff. They covered all the bases. Whilst I would say, and we've said this a lot on this channel, whilst never forgetting that it's all about the song. It's not just make a bloody row. It's has it got a melody? Is there a song in there that that you can hum, you can sing to? And I think the answer to that always is yes with Led Zeppelin. And they never forgot that. Never, that was always to me central into what they did. It's not just about a riff. It's about is there a song in here? Is there something that you can do properly? So yeah. Anything else you want to add, boys, before we get into the
No, not really. I think the only thing I can really touch on what you said, I think this package is more for the fans than it would be someone who's never really listened to Led Zeppelin. But then again, there's some phenomenal stuff on there for the non-Led Zeppelin fan to engage with as well. So I think there's a bit of a contrast of both with this package. But it's definitely pointed towards the fans of Led Zeppelin. Wanted anything they could get their hands on. I mean, I had countless bootlegs of this era of Zeppelin, and then to get it this pristine and clear was just something next level for me when I got my hands on it. So that's all I'll really add to your wonderful intro there, Simon.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was never a great bootleg person. I just thought they always sounded terrible, really. But
yeah,
interesting. But I never really bought. I could never see myself spending £40 or £50 on. Was it Blueberry Hill? That's one from this era, isn't it? Is it Blueberry Hill?
I got
is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Andrew.
Yeah, I got copies of bootlegs. I never paid for them myself. If you were going to, record something and pass it on, but I've never been a student of them, other than reading reviews from music journalists who have followed them, and hardcore fans on various forums over the years arguing about where one song wasn't recorded or something, and all those arcane sort of discussions that fans can get involved in, Simon. and we all love them because that's exactly what you're supposed to do on those forums, back in the day. Do you remember when you used to get Simon? Brad wouldn't remember because he's too young. Yeah, but he wouldn't he wouldn't remember email groups that used to be on that used to get a digest, and used to get a weekly digest of it and a daily thing, and you would reply back on email to these chat groups back in the day. And it was always interesting to hear what people had to say about Led Zeppelin. I'll be honest, I learnt a lot from just the hardcore fan from the UK or from the US, and the discussions around bootlegs was in itself a special sort of subject. But when this came out, when they were talking about this, 2003, Simon, so that's over 20 years ago, isn't it, when they released this?
Yeah.
I remember it being a big deal amongst fans. It was in music magazines, they were talking about it. And I agree with you, Brad, just to get something, that was official, cleaned up, and from Led Zeppelin to the fans is just an indication again of how much Led Zeppelin and Jimmy Page thinks of the fans. There's two artists, and I talk about these guys regularly when we talk about this stuff, that give a damn about their fans. It's Neil Young with his archives. Actually, we should put Bob Dylan there, 3, because Bob Dylan's releasing stuff regularly from his back.
Stuff as the bootleg series, extraordinary.
Correct. Who's doing that on a regular basis. And then obviously, as we know, Jimmy Page has been taking this project and paying back the fans that have celebrated him and his band for near on 50 years. So, isn't that great to know that we're in that family and Jimmy Page gives a shit about us?
Yeah. Oh, it always surprises me when I hear something new being released by Led Zeppelin, because I think, well, that's Page working away in the background. He's still providing for the fans.
100%, bro.
No. Yeah. Absolutely. Didn't I get an email just yesterday or the day before about some 6-album Neil Young archive thing?
Yes.
It was.
Yes.
Yeah. I wasn't imagining it. No, amazing. Yeah. Well, I think there's, we talk a lot here on how to do it, and and that clearly these artists are, I think that they're doing it in the right way. Absolutely, and that kind of, I know you boys complain a lot about the way that Van Halen don't seem to do much with their legacy stuff.
Yeah, that's not.
Do you know why, Neil?
Well, it's a really interesting contrast, isn't it, between the two approaches? One is like Jimmy Page is all about it and on it, and seemingly the Van Halen thing is nobody's really got hold of it. Maybe they have, and I'm not seeing behind the scenes, but it seems to me vaguely that that they released the Balance album and stuff like that. Andrew, you didn't get much extra with the Balance album, did you? They just released. It was just remixed a bit.
Yeah, I think so.
I think.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And one of the great things about Neil Young, and he's come out and said this, and this is, you got to bear this in mind, folks. This is a really, really good reason why Neil Young is doing this, because we've got a show scheduled coming up after these 3 shows on the value and are record companies worth anything today. So we're going to have an open panel discussion here. We're going to have Jim on. We're going to get Hugh on. We're going to get John ZD35. We're going to come on and we're going to sit here and we're going to talk about this question because I think it's an important one. But one of the reasons why Neil Young is doing this, and I suspect Bob Dylan too, is that they have, Brad, at least some control now of what they're releasing while they're alive, and not leaving it to some fucking recording executive, 22-year-old pimply face, little twit somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, control of your own destiny. Unfortunately, Edward's still not with us to, foster his future releases, Simon and Andrew. So I think that would be a reason why the Van Halen camp would be reluctant to release stuff unless I think Wolf was to get involved, and I don't think that'll happen for a very long time. So,
No.
unfortunately.
You know what?
But,
Do you know what, bro? Do you know what?
Yeah.
Can I say this, or
Yep.
will I get into trouble?
Say it.
Yeah, but go on.
I don't care. I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel you.
Gone past it. Gone past
Yeah.
caring.
Yeah.
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 But
I feel
think
you in a
another-
sense there, Andrew. Yeah.
But I think that's a really interesting point, isn't it? That you get so far into it, and then you just go, well, nobody cares. Why should I care? It's never going to happen. It's whereas with Jimmy Page, with Led Zeppelin, as you said, with Neil Young, with Bob Dylan, there's a continual kind of investment in. We're really. Oh, look, they're releasing that now. Oh, how and you're continually, they're investing in what their
The
fans want to
Beatles.
hear. The Beatles,
Yeah.
absolutely. Investing in what your fans want to hear,
Yeah.
and keeping it rolling. And some of that is about keeping yourself in the public eye and keep, every 5 years if you do a new release of something, clearly that puts you back in the public eye a bit and keeps it going. But that's what running a business is, isn't it? It's.
Yeah.
I'm afraid that's what it is, and it's not just allowing your fans to grow apathetic because they know they're not going to get anything anytime ever. I mean, it'd be interesting if 10 years time somebody decided to release a live Van Halen album or something. Would it just? Do you think it'd just be too late then, and people wouldn't be invested in it at all?
There'll always be interest there, Simon. I think, but I think that's neither here nor there. I think people will always be interested, but their fans are getting impatient, like Andrew is as well. You know what I mean? We're getting to the point where it's like, well, there's nothing. They keep rehashing stuff without the new stuff. So, but again, we're deviating, and we should probably leave this conversation for. We should probably leave this one for them. That record company. It's a whole show within itself.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, that's right. That's why we've got it scheduled.
Yeah.
I'm taking a long run up at it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh dear. Anyway, all right. I'll stop this and let's get into the ranking of the tracks. So we're going to do the first 6 tracks today, which is basically, I don't know what I wrote down. I don't think that's true at all. No, it isn't. That's right. Sort of half of CD1. We're going to the first stuff, which goes up to the acoustic section, but not including it. So starts off with and we decided not to rank the LA Drone as a separate track because it's only 9 seconds long, and go straight into the Immigrant Song, which is one of their trademark openers from the '72 tour. And apparently the LA Drones thing, they played it earlier on in the tour for the first time at the Nassau Coliseum. They hadn't used it before, and there's something that they had. It's a little studio thing that they had. Good morning, Fabiola. They they just put it together and decided to use it as a bit of fun, really, as a bit of a sort of atmospheric intro. But basically, they play it's 9 seconds long, and then they all come absolutely barreling in, don't they? Bonham absolutely smashes the doors down, and the drum sound is immense and amazing on all of it. But and then you've got the massive riff, of the Immigrant Song, which we all know, with it played by the guitar and the bass together. They give it again that huge kind of heavy sound. And you know, the thing you forget is I think is that, you know, you look at these things through the prism of punk and other things. You know, you forget how much energy these things had and how much energy this band, you know, not in this band but other bands, but you know, but Led Zeppelin had then. You know, it just absolutely come piling in, and it's got a huge amount of energy. You know, clearly a bit of a, you know, it's pretty tight. They have to, you know, they don't deviate really from the, you know, for the recording track. It's only 3 minutes 40 long, kind of thing. So, you know, it's pretty much a warmer upper in those terms. In terms of, you know, there's not any improvisation. There's just play the song, you know, the way they've done it all before. But as I say, the major part of it is, you know, great energy. Page with his, you know, guitar interjections, and you know, and he's got a solo at 2 minutes, and but you know, yeah, it's a massively strong, energetic opener, you know, that says we are here and this is what we do. I think it's a, you know, fantastic opener, and you know, it absolutely does what it's supposed to do. Sets up the gig, sets up the, you know, the audience and what they're going to get. It's 10 out of 10 from me, never a skip. This might be a boring scoring show.
Yeah. Gents, I'll be back in 5 minutes, okay? You, Andrew, you do your
his, and then you can come back and do yours. That's fine.
Yep, okay. Sorry, guys.
No problem, bro. Oh, can we drop you out? You'll drop him out. Yeah, Jim's got a great comment there. You know, it's great that Jimmy has put so much into the archive work. It would have been good to have him release new music. Look, yeah, you know, that's an argument in itself, Jim. If I had it, you know, if it was do nothing, a page doing nothing, well, we got to celebrate Simon, the fact that the guy's doing this, you know. So I'll take this Jimmy Page doing something, you know.
but Jim, I'm completely in agreement with you that, you know, one of the sad things is that he's never found another band,
no,
really, after 79 to, you know, to really put his artistic soul into and really work with, you know, odd glimmers here and there, you know. And we did Jimmy with the Black Crowes, which is a fantastic record, but never went anywhere else. You know, he did some stuff with Paul Rodgers, didn't he, in The Firm, and he did a David Coverdale record and things, but none of them ever really went anywhere and never quite had the magic of Zeppelin, I would say.
No, you know, and great projects, and we've ranked the Coverdale Page stuff here on the show as well, and the Black Crow stuff. But yeah, he was in his groove with the Black Crows. But yeah, look, I'll take this archivist Jimmy Page, Simon, because we've got these great books. We've got Becoming Led Zeppelin. You know, the film,
fantastic film,
you know,
which is brilliant. Yeah,
you know, endorsed by Led Zeppelin. So, you know, fantastic. And look, I have to agree, Simon, with you on this track. You know, there's going to be no surprises. With
it's quite difficult, isn't it?
Yeah. So there'll be none of these comments for any scores. We won't be. No one will be calling no one's going to be calling this person to come to see the Rock Professor.
He's got to find me first.
Yeah. You know. I'm sure of that, so we'll be safe with our scores. But look, I have to agree with you. The Immigrant Song, what a song to open this album with, and I agree with you. It was a staple. This band, like the Rolling Stones, you know, they didn't change a lot of their sets, Simon, and they did that on purpose, because once the groove was locked in, you know, it wasn't about you know, the creative juices as much inspiring or being inspired by the muse to change a song and stuff like that. It had everything to do with the lighting effects as well that they had. So all that was programmed manually, you know, by people, Simon. Also, the sound guys needed to know what to do, you know, with 5 songs or 6
Lighting
songs.
as well.
You know,
Lighting is
yeah, you know, so it was all choreographed, you know, to a set formula, which is indicative of what you know, a lot of these bands were doing. Here's the Backdoor Man. So I think hold on. Is that behind you?
What's that?
Is that did they catch you?
Yeah, mate, they caught me. I'm busted. Yeah. Yeah, I'm in a lot of trouble here, but it's all right.
Yeah, okay. So we were just flapping on as we always do when you're not here.
Sorry,
So I'm just getting into the immigrant song. So you know, I have to agree with the Rock Professor. You know, what a song to open this album with. You know, immigrant song was an important opener for the band during this period. Page is just on fire with his guitar work on this, and also, you know, I'm going to be repeating a lot of comments, guys. You know, but hopefully in between the repeating of the comments, we're going to find some kind of angel dust, you know, to take us and be inspired. But Plant's vocals just on this track are fantastic. You get into the groove, Brad. I've got to give this a 10 out of 10, and it's never a skip, Brad.
Yeah, I agree, guys. I mean, for me, once that drone comes in and then the immigrant song kicks off, Bonzo is just, you know, in demand when it comes to leading this song. He's got that triplet feel on the kick drum and really pushing the song. I mean, he's ripping into it, let's be honest. And the band kind of explode. It's a perfect way to open a live set. It's no messing around, straight into it. It's one of their heaviest riffs, you know, in my opinion, that they've ever written. So, you know, the whole place sounds like it's about to, you know, explode or cave in. I mean, guitar-wise, Jimmy Page's Les Paul tone, it's raw, it's nasty. The outro solo that he does is chaotic. It's not polished. It's perfect though for the performance. You know, John Bonham's footwork throughout, especially the outro solo, is just insane. I mean, you're hearing a lot of triplet work, but he's really pushing the song, but still holding the beat behind the beat, if that makes sense. So there's that urgency of the push with a behind the beat feel, which is very difficult for a drummer to do, and he just does it so wonderfully well. John Paul Jones, obviously, he's doubling that riff with Page and keeping it, you know, on the rails for Jimmy when Jimmy goes off the rails, if that makes sense. Keeps it all together. And I mean, you know, Robert Plant's vocal sounds like a warrior on top of a mountain, doesn't he? Let's be honest. I mean, this song, it's got that Viking feel to it, and I mean, that opening wail of the song is one of the all-time great vocals, in my opinion, that Page has ever done. And the way he does it live is phenomenal. For the highlight for me is Robert Plant in this one. His vocal in it, just pushing it from the word go, giving it everything. They're a well-oiled machine by this point in their career. They've been gigging a lot. Simon, you said they did 17 gigs in June in '72. And that's quite a phenomenal effort. And I'm a bit embarrassed to sort of rank it, because it's hard to rank this album because it's all perfect. It's a live record, and live recordings are very hard to rank. But again, I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10 and never a skip. I mean, what an opening song, Simon.
Completely, yeah. I agree with you. I think that the scores may be a little kind of academic on this, but what the hell? We could talk about it anyway. Nobody said we had to. But so, first interesting point, I think, at the end is segues straight into Heartbreaker. No break. You know, the band stop and Jimmy Page is into Heartbreaker. Bang, like that. You know, it's a seamless interchange. You know, it's just him starting it. You'll notice that he starts off at blistering pace with the with the riff until Bonham comes in. Then he pulls it all back a bit. Steady now, Jimmy. Not too fast, mate. Steady. Which is which are the things that I love, and I think I think that they really make that energy really kicks in. The adrenaline's there, and he's just firing into it. But Bonzo's there going, steady now, Jimmy. Just come with me on this a bit, which is fantastic. And it's a classic riff, isn't it? It's a absolutely one, and they kind of again, it's not too dissimilar from, to be honest, not too dissimilar from the one on here. What they do in terms of its structure and things. They do the the first verse, and then then Page, then they do that stop, and then Page does a whole lot of sort of various bits, doesn't he? Various bits, different songs, different styles. He does country style, and he's tremendous use of the volume control and the tone control of his guitar, and there's a bit that he does a bit of Simon and Garfunkel's Feeling Groovy, which they chopped out of this for copyright purposes. But again, his ability to back off the sound so that you get very light, very quiet, and then banging back in with some really hard, fast playing and things. And it's a lesson to lots of players in dynamics and in what you can do. And at the end he plays a bit of Bach, doesn't he? But of just a bit of classical, just before they go back into the riff and things. As as I say, it's pretty much structurally, it's pretty much the same as the one on the BBC sessions, and it's what he does, but he does it so well, doesn't he, Jimmy? He does it brilliantly. All that change in the guitar around and things. Heartbreak is always one of my favourite songs. Just for hell of it, I'm giving it a Brad score, never a skip. Because why wouldn't you? and it's longer than the earlier ones. It's 7 minutes, so it's just more, and more is better, especially now. So yes, I go 100 out of 10. Brad score, never a skip. Don't even think of it, kids.
Well done.
Andrew.
Yeah, those lyrics. Hey, fellas, have you heard the news? That Annie's back in town.
In town.
Just incredible. We've spoken about the song a couple of times already on the channel. That opening riff. The first, this song was played constantly on the radio when it was when the album first came out, wasn't it? It was the DJs and it was the fans that loved this song, if I remember rightly. It was organically growing, from the album, because as we know, Led Zeppelin were interested in doing a whole album, weren't they, Simon and Brad, from the word go?
Yep.
Though,
Yeah.
And if I remember rightly, this was, the one that the FM stations picked and played, hours on end, for good reasons, and to hear that song on this this live package, back in the day, 20 odd years ago, Simon and Brad just blew me away. I just think it's incredible. You're right, Simon. It's an classic opening rock and roll riff. It's just incredible. The power of Bonham when he comes in, of Bonzo when he comes in, it's just, you're right, it's a statement. It's almost like, bang, guys, this is why I'm here, Brad. And I was speaking to a couple of drummers over the years, and one of the most important things about, what a drummer has to do is he's controlling the band. He's controlling the pace of where it's going. And, if the drummer's cocking up, the rest of the band's going to cock up. But if you're a guitar player, Brad, and you cock up a riff or you get lost in the chords, your drummer is there. He's and the song's still going forward. So you're right, Simon. This is Gonzo taking control of this band musically, very early on, and you can always you know, yeah. I won't say too much because Brad's coming next.
Say it.
One thing I love about Bonzo on this though is those tom rolls. You know,
Yeah,
it's just
Bonzo.
it's just incredible the way that he just has those tom rolls. Just incredible. You know, we often talk about him being, you know, powerful, but you know, he's also delicate as well. He can just bring in those rolls when you need to. I agree with you, Simon. I think it's an incredible version. Well, can we say versions? Are we allowed to say version?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
It's an incredible version of you know, a great song that I'll never ever get sick and tired of listening to. I too have given this a Brad score. Brad.
Heartbreaker for me. I mean, I love how the band just launched straight into it out of the Immigrant Song ends, and then they come straight in. It's like, yeah, we've been gigging a while. We're proving it the way they do. They transition straight into the next song. You know, they launch forward with this one. It's explosive. It's faster than the original. Obviously, Jimmy Page pulls it back a little bit. Jimmy Page plays too fast, and Bonzo does pull it back a bit. I was going to say Gonzo. Um, uh, and the way that the song has that middle section, I mean, let's be honest, it's an extended sort of guitar solo, and every time Page plays it, there's some sort of format there, but it's very much improvised as well. The guitar tone, it's dirty, it's got that sort of bluesy attitude and growl to it. You know, John Paul Jones is anchoring that riff, especially in the verses. He drops out a little bit here and there, especially in the solo. But John Bonham, I mean, he's got all the swagger for this song for me. The groove, he swings it, and as opposed to the recorded version, it's very straightforward and straight in the Led Zeppelin 2 version. He plays a lot of explosive drum fills and really has fun with this one. And John Bonham is outstanding on it. Robert Plant, sorry, he leans into the sleaze of it, stretching words out, playing with the phrasing. He's got a lot of swagger in his vocal delivery throughout the whole live performance. But the highlight for me, obviously, is the solo. You can hear him making a lot of it up on the spot. Some of it, you know, is structured. Some of it's messy. Some of it's genius. It's thrilling from start to finish of the solo, and then that outro, the way the song ends into the last verse. Man, there's some musicianship going on there. I can tell you. It's sometimes you tend to forget it's a three piece at that particular time because there's so much going on. Yeah, it's a thrilling version of Heartbreaker. I remember hearing it for the first time, just going, "My goodness, this sounds absolutely outstanding." For that reason, I'm going to give it 100 out of 10 and never a skip. Simon.
Brad score. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that, yes, I know. Lesson to young bands, lesson to bands, you know, straight in from the Immigrant Song to Heartbreaker, straight out of Heartbreaker into Black Dog. You know, there's no kind of talk to the audience, there's no kind of tuning up, there's no, you know, no messing about. And it's absolutely bang, 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 you know, and it makes a difference if your first two songs are the Immigrant Song, Heartbreaker, and then into Black Dog. I'll give you that. But nevertheless, that thing about the first 3 or 4 songs, you know, the first 3 songs, probably all of a piece in terms of energy wise and in terms of, you know, being upbeat and playing hard and fast. So, you know, really setting your stall out in a huge way. Well, they have, you know, Heartbreaker certainly has the, you know, the different bits of the guitar solo as a contrast thing, but in essence, it's a very upbeat, energetic, you know, tremendous swinging playing for a thing. And then you go then Page starts playing that descending chord sequence that again merges directly in from Heartbreaker into Black Dog, and and then off you go, don't you, with that amazing riff, that John Paul Jones riff that goes in time, out of time, and back in time kind of thing. That that is amazing, and I think only Bonham would have sussed out that the way to do it is to ignore what you're playing and just drum 4/4 all the way through, and it'll work. And hell does it work. Again, I have a nice little story. I was at university from 82 to 85, and clearly before that I'd been through a sort of punk era, and I hadn't really listened to Zeppelin through the punk era. And I was standing. I borrowed a friend of mine called Kevin, sadly departed, but last year. But he lent me a tape of Led Zeppelin 4, and so I'm standing at the bus stop in 1983 or whatever. So I've not heard it for ages, years. And I put it on, and I'm standing at the bus stop, Christ, and again, I sort of just got that real thing about, wow, the energy of this band. That it is quite punkish in a way. Punk bands weren't more energetic than this, and leaving them behind, it's absolutely not the case. Tremendous energy. Bonham is fantastic. It's the classic Black Dog. The stop start. Plant sings, they play, sort of call and response thing with the things. And I like the way that Bonham is so good that he plays Brad. He does like he plays off the beat, except at the end of the vocal phrase, he's right at the front of the beat, and he just pulls it just in that bit, not anywhere else. But he moves to like the front of the beat just for that bit, and that's like, hey, I don't even know. I mean, I can't drum at all. But how you move from where your natural instinct is to play, different places in that beat is, I think, incredible. And and then he does the double time with Page, and there's lots of the standard stuff. And I don't think they deviate very much. It's maybe a bit longer, but they don't really deviate from the recorded version that much in terms of great solo as well. Great, all those styles, that pacing, the speed, and the fearlessness. With Page, isn't it? That always amazes me, and I've said it before on here a lot. The fearlessness of just, I'm just going to, stand on it and get soloing, and just to be good enough to be able to do that, I think is, I find, really awe-inspiring and a fantastic listen. And Plant says so good at the end, near the end, doesn't he? He says so good. Never a truer word spoken than that. And those massive drums to end it as a, typical Bonham thing. What, 100 out of 10? 10 out of 10? Whatever. 10 out of 10 and never a skip. As I say, those first three songs, just fantastic. Lesson to any band. Line up 3 songs like that and just play them off. Faffing about in the middle, I've got to tune up. Anyway, Andrew.
Thanks, mate. Hey, Big Popper, thanks for jumping in. And Ellen's scoring as well. She's scored Black Dog 10 out of 10. And Heartbreaker guitar, great guitar work, awesome. And it's mesmerising. And she gave that to a Brad score. So we're all on track.
Yes.
And there's a great comment there by Jim Folks too. So go and check that out. Spoke to one of his neighbours yesterday, saw Zep at the music hall in 72. He said it was jaw-droppingly good, and the only person he thought that got close to matching them for energy was Rory Gallagher. So, I totally agree with you. Go and watch some of those clips of Rory playing. But I agree with you, Simon. Brad, when you're a young guy and you're starting to learn lyrics, and you're learning riffs at the same time, but, hey, mama said the way you move, going to make you sweat, going to make you groove. Man, that was a code word for a lot of things, wasn't it, when you were growing up? And, child, where you shake that thing. Oh, yeah. So we could carry on. We could sing the whole song, the three of us.
Steady
But
now. Easy, Tiger.
you know, I just love the lyrics to this song. Love the performance. And there's something that we need to remember with this band. The reason why they don't have a lot of interludes between the songs, we're all familiar with it, but I think we need to remind ourselves, Robert Plant, one of their songs, House of the Holy, it's about the concerts that they have, being a special place. It's no doubt in anyone's mind that Led Zeppelin, a lot of the members in Led Zeppelin have a supernatural spiritual element to their outlook, and they're paying that back by their fans that are coming to watch them, because there's something happening, there's something going on, and that's why you get these songs in a constant rotation, Brad, because they're locked in the groove, Brad. You know what I mean? It's important to them, not only musically, to be still kept in that groove, but also in here and in their hearts as well. And we're getting that on this collection of songs. I just think it's an incredible song. The lyrics, the power, it's power, it's precision, Simon, because these musicians are all on point, and it's perfect, Brad. The 3 Ps, and so if you hear that from now on, the 3 Ps, you guys will know what that is. And it's got nothing to do with recreational drug use or anything like that. Simon, you've said it all. I think the power of this band is encapsulated in these 3 songs. It's almost exhausting, and then you've got, Simon, how many hours worth of music to listen to? It's just
another 2 hours and 45 minutes. Yes.
It's incredible. I've given this a Brad score too, Brad. I can't. I can't rank it any lower.
It's never going to be an 8 out of 10, is it? Never ever is.
No.
No, there's no 8s. There's no 8s on this one.
No.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more, Andrew. I think Black Dog, it's a tricky one to play live. I mean, the start-stops always tend to be something that in any band, when you're playing any song, the band's got to be on top of it. Your drummer's got to be leading it, and the rest of the musicians have to follow. And it's a recipe for disaster if the band's not tight. So, when people used to say Zeppelin were a bit sloppy or not so tight, I disagree with that. They were very tight. They just knew what they were doing, and they were floating between the tightness and the looseness, if that makes sense. So, this is a very tricky one. The arrangements are tricky. They're tight, and they're playing very dangerously on this one. Plant and Page are basically dueling, between the vocal line and the riffing here. Obviously, John Paul Jones as well. And Bonzo brings the song back in so remarkably well every time they go, from the riff to the vocal to the riff to the vocal. It's outstanding. The solo in this is blistering. There's moments of, ready to fall off the rails at any time, but it never happens, and it's just magic. John Paul Jones is the glue in this one, without a doubt. With all the shifting rhythms, without John Paul Jones, I think this song would fall apart. John Bonham, I mean, he nails all those accents, this explosive feels, and he's definitely the groove master, or groove monster, we should say. Plant's voice on this is his phrasing, his attitude, he's snarling through the vocal lines. He gets pretty high on some of those vocal lines as well. I mean, you try and pull that voice off, boys. It's pretty hard. You know what I mean? It's a hard one to do. And the highlight, obviously, for me is the way Plant plays off the riff and the way he owns the space between the you know, the music, what's going on there musically. We always go on about Jimmy Page being the maestro and leading it and you know, owning the band, and the rest of the band members sort of fall in line. But by this stage, Robert Plant's definitely got a presence there, and he's definitely a leader when it comes to you know, live performance. So again, it's a 100 out of 10 and never a skip, guys. Simon.
Sure is. Yeah, and I think we should say that that one of the things about Bonham is and other drummers, contemporary drummers from his era, that they have a jazz background, they have a jazz edge to them. That as part of their background as drummers, they have a jazz thing, a first generation jazz thing. So, and I think that always comes through in the way that they play and what they do as well. Always with the swing, always with the eye for the song, pacing, all of that stuff. So it's worth saying, I think. Anyway, so track 4 is Over the Hills and Far Away, from newly introduced to the set on tour, for the not yet released Houses of the Holy. First time Plant acknowledges the and I know it's not quite in order, but he just says good evening, doesn't he, before they set off on it. Again, first thing you have, this is the first real contrast song, so they slow it down. Page starts with his guitar turned right down, very clean, to simulate that acoustic thing that he does on the on the recording. And for quite a lot of the first Plant comes in at 50 seconds, and for the next half a minute it's just him and Page playing together. Darling, you got the love I need. They just play, just the two of them. So taking all the instrumentation away, backed it off really quiet. Then the band come back in thunderous. Page and Bonham and John Paul Jones come. And the way that the bass fills out the bottom end, tremendous dynamics. And then you've got that kind of solo chordal riffing to keep the sound full, typical. There's a Page speciality. It's not all single note solos. A lot of chordal stuff goes on. And before going into that really nice, crisp, bluesy solo that he plays, fantastic, full of feel, and full of that improvisational stuff that he does so well. And again, you get to 4/12 and they take it down. You really ought to know. It's very quiet. Just again, that turning the guitar right down so it simulates the acoustic thing to get that dynamics and to get that change in the sound, the levels of sound, and then back to the beginning riff at the end. Fantastic. And as I say, we do albums a lot on here, and you're talking about you get to the third or fourth track and you're looking at starting to spread your wings, starting to introduce different sounds, and this is laid out very much like that. That this is the first track, which is a bit slower and a bit more, with that dynamic, still with got the driving Sun band bit in the middle, but again, the contrast is the interesting bit for me. 10 out of 10 and never a skip. I can't imagine skipping. I can't imagine it again. I just put it on the beginning and then listen to it till the end. As a thing. Andrew.
Yeah, it's a beautiful song, isn't it? It's just beautiful, and it's exactly where you need the song, Brad and Simon. It's incredible how they planned and worked all this out. And when you're sitting down, you've been listening to it for years and years, it just works, and it's just in your groove, and it becomes part of you as a fan, Brad and Simon. Isn't it interesting what a volume knob can do on a Les Paul?
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah,
be
100%.
clear on that. You know, the three of us have all got Les Pauls. I know there have been times when we've all cranked our amps just to breathe some life into that Les Paul because you just can't play it through your modeler. You've turned your amp up to 10 and you've turned your volumes up to 10, and then you just whack it down to an 8 or a 6. It's just incredible what that knob can do. And Simon, you know, Jimmy Page is the master of doing that. And got to remember too, guys, that this is in 72 when there's no mods done to that Les Paul. You know, it's not in the late 70s, you know, or the 80s where he's got all those push pulls going on, Brad, is it? You know, that's just standard 50s wiring.
Yeah, it's amazing what. Yeah, it's amazing.
And
The
you know, I'm
tonality
sure you.
differences. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know that you'll talk more about that, if not on this song, moving forward, you know, going on other tracks. But this is,
Yeah, it's since I've been loving you.
oh, yeah. It's just,
Hey, steady now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just incredible. And you know, the rock professor's pointing out right through his points for you guys. You know, what a band can learn from this album. You know, well, this is another thing that a guitar player can learn. Just think it's incredible. Page's vocals. Jimmy's on fire on this track. You know, for doing quiet things, for toning it down, Brad, and that's why he's on. You know, he's not there standing in front of that stage, Brad, leaning back like he does. You know, you know, he's but he's still on fire.
Yeah.
I just think the song's incredible and it's perfectly placed. Simon, you know what? I didn't give this a Brad score either. I gave this a 10 out of 10. But you know, please don't time me out.
Plenty more Brad scores to come.
Yeah.
Brad.
Yeah. Over the Hills and Far Away. It's a song full of mood shifts, really. You know, Page starts it off with that mellow neck pickup selected, like you said, Andrew. The volume rolled back on the neck pickup, and it kind of feels like you're in a wide open sort of piece of country, you know, in England somewhere, just, you know, pastoral sort of looking country vibe. That's how it feels when he's playing that intro, and when Robert comes in singing with him. It's very delicate and very warming, and you know, you sort of go, oh, if you'd never heard the song before, you'd be going, oh, isn't this a nice little ditty? And then they crash into the song, like it kicks in when Bonzo kicks in dun, 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 with those accents, and it's pure Zeppelin there. I mean, it's light and shade. It's turning, you know, that light into you know, shade, and then shade into light. They did that so well. The solo, I mean, Jimmy Page plays through his pickups on this song a lot. He plays through his neck middle positions, neck and middle together, as well as his bridge pickup alone. And the solo in this starts off with him mimicking the rhythm guitar line first. That doodle-doo, doodle-doo. He mimics that for a bit before he kicks in, and that's that beautiful middle position between the neck and the bridge pickup. I love it, and there's a lyrical feel between his solo, what he's playing there. John Paul Jones, I mean, he's very playful here. You hear him doing that string skipping and all that through the solo. And John Paul Jones, you know, he's a bass player that moves around. He's not a root note Roger bloke. And he gives it that bounce to the song, while John Bonham's just dynamically killer here. I mean, from the gentle touches to the hammering of those accents, and you know, the song takes off with Bonzo. Let's be honest, he really lifts it. But you've got to give props to Robert Plant. His vocal delivery here is relaxed at the start. It's very sweet. He floats on top of the band, and he lifts it and gives it a lot of energy. I mean, it's outstanding. The whole song I love. I love the song. I love the recorded version, and I love hearing them play it and perform it live. The highlight for me is Page's solo. I mean, it's soaring, it's melodic, it's uplifting, and you do get a bit of a switching thing between his pickups. I love that. Um, you know, and we'll get more onto the volume swells and controls and stuff like that with the next song. For me, it's a 10 out of 10, like you guys. Never a skip. Simon.
Yes, it's yeah. So again, following on from this track 5 is "Since I've Been Loving You," which this week Andrew put a little post out saying, "What's your favourite Led Zeppelin song?" And I put this down as my favourite Led Zeppelin song. I wonder where this is going. Anyway, it is. I do think it's one of their masterpieces. I absolutely do. You know, I think that the way that they've set this up, this it's a blues, epic slow blues, but it has a kind of, it doesn't quite have a blues structure. It has some extra stuff in it that keep it really interesting. And the first thing I say is I love the fact that it's got the proper beginning on it. You know, that down, 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 that bend up. I know it doesn't. It's on the song remains the same. He does something else, and then he goes into the second bit, and he doesn't do it. And for me, it needs the first tick in the box. Oh, look, it's got the proper beginning, which I'd forgotten about.
Yep.
But yeah, because I think that's a fantastic bit. That first
It's
four
a
or
point
five
I've
notes
made
of,
too, Simon. Well done.
Yeah,
well done.
yeah.
It's a signature part of the song.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, and
So
it's
I won't
fine not to
mention
do
that.
it, but no, we'll mention away. But but for me, that's how it starts on a record, and it's such a signature bit for me that the fact that it starts on here in the same way. Again, Bonham, thunderous, but swinging drums, and it's 8 minutes long. It's not much longer than the recording version is about the same length, maybe a little bit shorter. But there's not a huge amount extra.
7:25.
7:25
is the original. Yeah, so it's just
so
a little bit longer.
30 seconds, but not a huge amount longer in the context of it being 7.5 or 8 minutes. But
yeah, 100%.
And they keep to the scripts, keep to the sections. You've got that 1:10 section where Page is playing behind Bonham into the verse, and the interplay between Page and Plant, that kind of call and response stuff. That is, again, there's loads of space in it. There's loads of dynamic playing from Jimmy, and I'll let Brad talk about that, because wizard with the Les Paul, from one wizard to a Les Paul, with Les Paul to another one. But it's fantastic. The dynamics, whenever they play together and they follow each other, don't they? When Plant starts singing, working from 7 till 9, and that 3-minute mark, he's followed by Page playing the same thing on the guitar, just joining in with it, and you've got Page breaking out, into his solo, fantastic, great bluesy solo, great feel, great dynamics, in all of that, and with John Paul Jones halfway through playing the organ, appearing on organ, which is interesting, but and using the foot pedals as the bass thing, which I don't seem to miss at all. So that's cool. It gives it, again, they're expanding the palette. This has got organ on it. Not so much bass and stuff. It's slow. It's a much more spacious blues song than what we've had previously. It's not like Over the Hills Far Away in terms of its, Over the Hills Far Away is not a blues song by distance. Whereas this is absolutely, central line blues, but done with a fantastic set feel. It's different enough. The structure wise is different enough so that it's not just a 12-bar blues. Everyone plays brilliantly on it. It's just, it's up there. As I say, today it's my favorite Led Zeppelin song. The dynamics are fantastic. Building up, taking it back down again, and understanding that dynamics and things. I mean, it's a huge score. It's 8,000 out of 10. And anybody who skips that has been round their house with a big stick. Andrew.
Yeah, I agree with you, Simon, and thank you for your wonderful discussion there on that song. I've got similar notes to you. One of my favourite Led Zepp songs, it came off, it's off Led Zeppelin 3 on side 2, I think, if I remember rightly, 7. It's a long song, just over 7 minutes, and as we've just discussed with the Rock Professor's introduction, Brad, this is just a little bit over it. John Paul plays organ on the studio version, and as the Rock Professor has mentioned, he's featuring that on this version as well. Slow blues in C, and again, I've got to say what I said the last song. This is a masterclass by Jimmy Page in guitar playing. And you're right, Simon. I think we mentioned this when we ranked The Song Remains the Same. It was a point that we all agreed on, that this version was so much better because it had that part, Brad. So I think we spent 5 minutes agreeing on that and patted ourselves each other on the back for agreeing with that. If there was one thing that was missing with that great song on that package. But I have to agree with you, Simon. Standout song. Again, the power of that band. Masterclass by Jimmy Page. The way that the band comes together and presents this in 1972, it just blows me away that they're capturing that. I hope I don't get timed out. I didn't give this a huge score. I only gave it a Brad score. So
that's well. If you look in the chat, Ellen says sorry because you only gave it a Brad score. And I said comes to something when a Brad score is a measly score, isn't it? Seems a bit measly. Only to give it a Brad score. Yeah, you're all banned because you didn't give it a huge score. Brad.
That's right. And if folks have forgotten what a Brad score is, that's 100 out of 10. And if you might remember. We had John ZD351 in the chat, and you used to give us a little bit of shit saying, you guys might know a little bit about music, but you guys don't know your math. You can't count for shit.
we know nothing of the math, do we?
That's right.
You know what? I'll take that any day, mate. If someone's going to say a little bit about music,
but nothing about the math.
Yeah. So long as you know how to count the money that you get weekly or fortnightly or monthly, that's the most important thing.
That's 100%.
Yeah. If you can count that, you're doing well. Brad.
Oh, look, you guys have pretty much summed a lot of it up. But since I've been loving you, for me, it's the first epic of the night. I mean, it's a slow blues. I've mentioned before that I think this is Jimmy. This is his showcase in blues playing. I think Jimmy Page, it's his version of the blues. And, like Eric had his, Jeff Beck had his. This is Jimmy. And there's so much drawn out, ringing out emotion in every single note that he plays on this. It's all about feel. He goes from clear, clean, biting tone and warm tone as well between his neck and bridge pickups, and utilizing his volume control as opposed to channels on an amplifier or pedals. It's all about the old school method of cleaning up your tone, which was using your volume. And this is a masterclass in it. He does it all the way through this song. And I've said it before, like The Song Remains the Same version. If you're watching the video footage of it, you see him all the time pulling the volume back, pulling it forward, pulling it back, pulling it forward, and then he flicks to the bridge pickup for the extended part of the intro there. And you really hear the same thing going on here. So in my head, I'm picturing it as I'm listening to it, and it's phenomenal. Every bend that he does, all the inverted chords he plays throughout the song. He's not playing necessarily the actual chord. He's playing a lot of inversions and things like that, which is something I really enjoy about Jimmy's playing in particular, is he would just take the chord and not just play like a root part of the chord or the root chord itself. He'd play inversions of the chord and get dissonant notes between things as well, which I love that he's doing a lot of that, especially that. It's actually a little waltz. It's a little what would you call it, like a little samba sort of thing, or a little jazzy thing that he does. It's phenomenal. John Paul Jones on the keys. I mean, he's filling out the sound, guys. He's playing keys and bass. I believe he plays the bass with his feet, and he's filling out the sound. So he's half the sound already. You know what I mean? He's already half the sound of the band. And then you've got John Paul Jones playing bass off John Bonham's remarkable drumming. So he's got his hands full and he's playing with his feet the bass lines, and he holds a lot when he plays live. He does hold the bass notes quite a bit to fill out the sound. But John Bonham, he is brilliant. I mean, he's super restrained when he needs to be, and then he unleashes that thunder, which obviously when the song crests, and he's very controlled. But John Bonham, as we know, he's unbelievably talented when it came to dynamics and throwing the song. This is one of my favourite songs of Robert Plant singing. I love his vocal in the recorded version, and every live version of it, I think he's outstanding. He's bearing his soul. I think he wrote some wonderful lyrics. It's totally raw, this version. His vocal's totally raw. There's no gimmicks here. There's no, there's no effects there. There's no pitch control or anything like that. That's just raw Robert Plant. And he's singing the blues. His way of singing the blues. So it's an epic song. I've given it 100 out of 10. Never a skip, guys. Simon. Yeah.
Fantastic. God, yes, it's a masterpiece, and never to be beaten. I don't think, equaled certainly, but so the last track we're doing today, I think, is a little song called "Stairway to Heaven." Don't think you may not have heard it before, but again, that we've gone from that to the very kind of fantastic blues into sort of into a sort of mystic folk, really, isn't it? In many ways, "Stairway," the beginning part is is all Jimmy Page on his 12-string playing. He's got that beautiful descending riff that he plays on it and stuff, which is apparently, and in my research, does the keyboard part, the recorder part, is actually not. John Paul Jones didn't have a mellotron in this part of the tour, so they basically the mellotron track, him playing the recorder bit on this, is taken from a concert in 1973 in Southampton. Kevin Shirley snipped it out and replaced what he had before, which is more, I think, an electric piano thing. Replaced it with the mellotron, because he got it in the autumn, the mellotron. He didn't have it for this part of the gig. So that part is actually from another gig in the future. Time travel. But you don't notice, and it's still got that beautiful kind of recorder part on it that John Paul Jones plays beautifully and fits in, and you wouldn't notice. I would never have known, and if as I say, I hadn't been rummaging around in the depths of...
I didn't know that.
No,
it's unreal.
I know. So was that yelling as well? What was that?
Andrew's getting excited with effects now.
Yeah, look,
soon he'll be ducking off to In-N-Out Burger soon.
Yes, get your own gong. Yes, we might get gonged off. That'd be it. But anyway, it's Stairway to Heaven. What can you say? It has fantastic melody. It has that delicate interplay between the organ, the recorder, and the guitar. At the beginning, at about 2 minutes, beautiful 12-string instrumental interlude. Then you've got a verse just with the guitar. I love the way it's built up. I love the way that the dynamics of it builds up slowly. They take their time. They stretch it out. They do a bit, bit recorder, then just a bit with the guitar. Then you have a verse just with voice and guitar. And then, it's not until 4.5 minutes in that the drums come in, with John Paul Jones still playing the keys. But, and then gradual build up through the verse, and then the solo. Well, it's one of the greatest solos ever, isn't it? It's it just is. Dog, Pepper. Oh,
she's had a haircut. She's had a haircut. She's had a haircut.
Yeah, very smart.
Yes, she's had a haircut.
Yes. See, we've got our channel dog too. And our channel dog is better than yours. But classic solo. What do you say about it? It is one of the greatest solos ever. So instantly recognizable. Instant classic. Page plays it brilliantly, and and then the sort of into the ferocious end section where Bonham just drives it along, doesn't he? Just drives it along. You got the drop down at the end for the singing. It's a masterpiece in how to build a long song that retains interest, retains its dynamics, retains its all the way through. It's got so much going on, so many parts, so many bits. All of them fantastic. It fits together, brilliantly. It's a Brad score, it's a Hughes score. It doesn't matter really, does it? It's just there. I think that it only Brooks Reed. Hello, Brooks Reed. Nice to see you. It's so yes, massive score from me. Never a skip ever. No matter how many times you've heard it, to me it all still sounds fresh and and exciting and a brilliant,
100%.
and so Andrew.
Hey Brooks, good to see you, bro. Long time no see. Brooks is a good friend of ours. We connected through Michael also. I'm 99% sure that's how we connected. So massive Clapton nut too. Loves Clapton. So yeah, good to see you. Look, Stairway to Heaven, Brad and Simon, what can you say about the song? What can you say about the song that's never been said before? What can we say about the song that we've never said on this channel? This will be the third version of this. No, the fourth version of this song we've ranked on the channel. When you look at it that way, guys, it's pretty incredible from that perspective. Brad and Simon, this song deserves its place, not just in rock and roll history. It deserves its place in the history of music forever until the end of the world, and, we've said this before, guitar shops make a point about songs that you can't play when you're testing guitars, and Stairway to Heaven, Brad, is always number one or number two on the list. But let's be fair, if you can play Stairway to Heaven, you're pretty bloody good. So
Yeah.
We've got to make that point quite clear. If you're attempting to play it, go for it. Don't let those signs, don't let those guitar shop employees stop you.
Put you off. Yes.
Yeah, or put you
anyway.
off. Yeah, just do it. because Brad goes into every shop in Melbourne and puts that Marshall on 10 and plays it, and no one tells him to fuck off.
I do it deliberately.
Yeah.
He's known for it.
Yeah, he's
Brand
known.
troublemaker. Yes.
Yeah.
Look, it's just, what can we say about the song, guys? It's just incredible. I never forget the first time I heard this song, Simon. Long before there was such a thing called, classic radio. The first version I heard was on The Song Remains the Same, the live version, and been blown away by it, Brad, ever since. And, the great thing about people that we meet through the course of our musical journey in life, we're not going to meet everybody that knows everything about Led Zeppelin, but jeepers, they're going to know something about this song. And I don't know how many conversations I've had with people over the years about this song and, what it means to people. And a lot of people have a story about this song, it's almost like a signpost of initiation, certainly for guys, I think, for a lot of guys it is. But, to hear this version in 72, yeah. Brad, you're right. At the start of the show, I'm just remembering, I'm going back, I'm deviating off my notes. We made this comment about the Stones in 72 versus Led Zeppelin in 72 and the Stones in 75 versus Led Zeppelin in 75. You can see now clearly after ranking these 6 songs where Led Zeppelin were going to be. And this song proves it to me. It's one of the best versions I've ever heard of. I'm not going to go through and give you any analysis. All I'm going to say is, go and listen to it. Go and listen to all versions of Led Zeppelin singing this song, this one in particular. The lyrics especially, guys, we've spoken about this many times, the way that Robert Plant, developed as a songwriter, and we saw that, didn't we, in Becoming Led Zeppelin, where he talked about, how he realized when he got into this band that he had to do something, and this band gave him the power to go out there and write these songs and give these lyrics to another genius. Most bands just have one genius. This band's got 4 of them. 4 geniuses. Shit. And then they come back and they write this song and they give it to us, and here we are, 50 odd years later, still being blown away by it. And we could, we could run through and do a song, a line by line analysis if we have to, but we won't. I'm going to pass it over to Brad. I just adore this song. I love it. And I agree with you, Simon. There's nothing you can say bad about this, but there are people on social media, and Brad and the Rock Professor and I have had conversations with those people, not to them, but amongst ourselves. We don't involve ourselves in it. You either get Led Zeppelin or you don't. And there is a lot of people out there who pretend to be rockers who don't get Led Zeppelin, and they want to bash Led Zeppelin, and they pick the song to bash Led Zeppelin, and I'm going, no, go away. Brad, Brad, this is a Hugh score, bro. It will always be a Hugh score. Oh, it used to be a Brad score, but now it's a Hugh score. It used to be a Brad score.
Now it's a doesn't matter score.
It's off the Richter scale.
How can you rank the song? Yeah, Brad.
Well, absolutely.
Thanks, Alan. Thank you very much.
Stairway to Heaven live. I mean, in 72, the band, I'm going to be cheeky here and say they edged out the Stones, in my opinion. I think they were a little bit ahead of the Stones at this point. But that's just my take on it. I'm a Stones fan too. Okay. So I'll move on because I don't want to cause an in-house argument here.
Okay.
The song is a masterpiece. Let's be honest. The way it builds up naturally from that quiet to massive sort of and the way the song ends as well. It's a masterpiece. I mean, the guitar intro is delicate, and it's very close to the recorded version. The way Jimmy plays it, very close. The solo is where it takes off. It's very much it starts off with the signature part of the solo, and then it stretches out. And there's a way that the band bring it back to end the solo. And Jimmy Page has a cue, and I think in this version of it, he's turning around probably to Bonzo because Bonzo's missed it, I think, and they catch it the next time through, and that gives it that little bit of magic. I think it's pretty cool. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go and have a close listen to it, and you'll pick it what I'm talking about. It's pretty cool. The keyboards and the harmonies. I didn't know what you said, Simon, about the what is it, the flute, the recorder sort of
Recorder,
thing,
yeah. At the
mellotron,
beginning.
is it?
At the beginning.
Yeah.
It's a
I didn't know
mellotron,
that, but yeah. So, but John Paul Jones is the guy that glues Zeppelin together. He's that one. He's the one, in tradie terms. He's the one with the liquid nails. He keeps it together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The drumming in this, I mean, John Bonham obviously waits till his part, but when he comes in, it's very relaxed the way he comes in. He's not coming in like he does in, Heartbreaker or Immigrant Song. It's very relaxed, dum 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 dum, the way he plays, and he's swinging those verses through. Where Bonzo really stands out in this song is during the guitar solo, and this version of it, he really does. I reckon him and Jonesy are off in their own little world doing something because Page is, trying to cue it back in, like I said, and I think he misses it a bit. But as brilliant as all that is, I mean, Robert Plant, this is his song as well. This is one of his highlights in his career. It's a beautiful lyric. It's a beautiful vocal. I love hearing every version of this song. This one is he's giving it that human, vulnerable edge in this version of it. Like there's some notes he's going for, and especially in the outro, he opts to go down instead of the high octave, and then he sings the last part of it, the high octave. So the first part he comes in singing like where I'd probably sing it, and then he goes to the parts where I can't sing it. It's wonderful the way they're doing this one. It's obviously the highlight for me is the solo. It's extended. Starts off with the signature, but it's extended out, and it soars along. It's a Brad score, 100 out of 10. Never a skip, guys.
Only a Brad score, eh?
A Hughes score. Hey, it's off the Richter scale.
Look, we're not going to wrap up. We're not going to wrap up the show here, guys, because we've got 2 more shows going. We've had a bit of fun. I'm just mindful that Brad has got a little bit of darkness there in the mobile studio. Obviously, Jimmy Page has flicked us the bird, so we'll have to catch up with him next time. But it's been a lot of fun, guys. A lot of fun ranking this. I purposely didn't pick any photos, guys, because I knew that we were going to have a bit of a intro longer than what we normally did. So I'll have some 72 photos for us next week, Simon. When we after the 3rd song, we can put up some pics, Simon, and
beautiful
talk about the 72 tour. We won't take Brad to task about him edging Led Zeppelin a nose in front of the Stones on 72.
That's just my opinion. Hey, we're entitled to one.
Yeah.
Well,
teased about it.
72, 75, 77. Matt, what a band. And Brad, also, I didn't do a shout out to you for this T-shirt that you gave to me at Christmas time, Led Zeppelin. Thank you, bro.
No problem.
Yeah.
No worries.
Yeah.
The one I'm not wearing. I forgot.
This is from the 77 tour. So, what a band.
Yeah.
Oh.
Did I? Have I ever said I saw them in 75?
Yeah.
All right. We're
All right,
gonna
gents.
we're gonna TikTok and Time to Rock off the show.
Yep.
We're gonna see you back here next week this time, and we're going to do the next 6 songs in sequence. We're gonna have a bit of fun here, and we'll look forward to catching up with you. Professor, can you do a quick shout out? Brooks, good to see you, bro. Thank you for jumping on.
Yes, Brooks, great to see you. Thank you very much for dropping on some lovely comments. Ellen, of course, thanks, Ellen, for
As ever.
supporting us every week, which is fantastic, and we're really appreciative of it. Johnny Heartbreaker as well, keeping you up, Johnny. That's all right. It's probably about 1 o'clock in the
Thanks,
morning where Johnny is. Fantastic to see you. Thanks, Johnny. Jim, Jazz Thunder 50. Great to see you, Jim, as well.
Jimmy.
Fabiola De Leon, very nice to see you. And making a comment, Fabiola. So thank you very much for that. I hope you're good. And I think that's everyone who made a comment. So fantastic. And we'll see you guys next week for more of this idiocy.
Yeah. And we'll have our Les Pauls next week too. There's my tribute to Jimmy.
Yes, Brad hasn't got his Les Paul in his car.
Hey, I'm still waiting for mine to get shipped over.
All right.
Well, the little badge. See you guys later. We're out of here.
All right, guys. I've got to run.
Right. Have a great week. We'll
you're
see
up.
you next week.
You go. Cheers, brother.
Yeah.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.